Good evening, everybody. We're watching a whole bunch of our Spruce Dragons come in. We're going to wait just a minute before we get started. Oh, it's lovely to see you. I see some kindergartner right there, almost underneath my name. I see you, Reese. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to get started in just a minute, but we're going to give a little bit of time for our dragons to get in the room. I see students. I see parents. Wonderful to see you. Hi, Zion. Nice to see you. Excellent. Nice to see you. I love it. I don't like that view, friends. There we go. I love that. Yeah, I think that we're good with interpreter settings. Thank you so much. I think we've got it, but we reserve the right to get some support if we need it. Thank you. Hi, friends. Nice to see you. There's still some folks joining. We're going to wait another 30 seconds and then we're going to launch. It's wonderful to have you here. I'm so excited. Miss Annie, I might tear up. If I tear up, someone's got to take over. I'm ready.
Sure thing.
Ready
We'll
for
do.
our kiddos.
We'll do.
I see you, Matsumoto's. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming. Still got a few. This might be the biggest Spruce meeting in history right now, just so you know.
I think so.
More and more folks coming. Thank you so much for being here. I don't want anybody to miss anything. We've got a lot to cover tonight, and I'm very excited to have you here. What do you guys think? About 10 more seconds?
Sure.
All right. We're almost there. Oh, I see Joshua. Hello, Sir Joshua. Nice to see you. Hello, Kendall. I see you. Hello, Rizweez. I see you. Nice to see you. Hello, Finches. Loving it. Thanks, you guys, for being here. We're at more than 130 participants. Well done. Well done. Thank you. All right. So really, before we get started, this Mama Dragon wants to welcome you back to Spruce. Ben, I told you guys I would tear up. I'm just so excited to have you guys back, all of you. So we're going to go ahead and get started in just a minute, but a couple of things. I have a wonderful team of people here to support us tonight, and I am so looking forward to seeing each and every one of you back at school. We're going to do this. We're going to be safe. We're going to wear our masks and use hand sanitizer and use 3 and 6 feet. We've got it. Okay. I think that a couple of things before we get started. Let's do introductions first. So I'm Emily Moore, Principal Dragon Mama of 457 dragons today and 4 kids at home, and friend and partner to about 70 Spruce staff members. And so I would like to welcome you. And then I'm going to ask Miss Annie to introduce yourself, please, friend.
Hi, good evening. My name is Miss Annie. I'm one of the school psychologists serving Spruce, and I'm also will be interpreting in Spanish this evening. So I'm going to introduce myself in Spanish. Hola, buenas noches. Soy Miss Annie. Soy una de las psicólogas escolares de Spruce y también voy a interpretar la reunión. Enseguida vamos a darles instrucciones cómo van a poder escuchar solamente mi voz y no la de la directora para tener así el canal de español en unos momentos siguientes. Gracias.
And Miss Raja, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Raja Albira. I am paraeducator at Spruce Elementary. I am so happy to see you back in person and working with you this year, making it very smooth and very nice and good year for everybody. مرحبا بكم جميعا. اسمي رجاء البيرة. أنا بشتغل بهاي المدرسة كمساعدة مدرسة، وأنا طبعا سعيدة جدا بوجودي في هذه المدرسة وسعيدة جدا بمقابلتي الأطفال شخصيا هذه السنة، ونتمنى إن شاء الله سنة سعيدة للجميع وسنة نافعة إن شاء الله. شكرا لاستماعكم.
Thank you, Miss Raja. Sam?
My name is Sam Bircher, and I'm the Family Engagement Liaison here at Spruce.
She's also one of the artists that created a video for you guys tonight. So thank you, Sam, for being here. Ben?
Hey everyone, it is so good to see you and good to see all the little faces smiling back. This year I get to serve as a kindergarten teacher and I am so excited.
It's awesome. Last year, I hope you guys will give Ben a wave. He finished his principal internship as well. So he's not long for staying at Spruce for very long. I'm certain at some point in the very near future, I'm going to lose him to a principalship and he will take care of a lovely school and they will be lucky to have him. Thank you guys. Thanks team so much. If you scroll around, I won't make her introduce herself, but if you'll scroll through, you'll see that Miss Monique, our office manager, is also here as well. And she is also here to support. So we're going to go ahead and share screen, Sam, if you can get that first slide up. And then I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the interpretation channel. All right, so a little bit of housekeeping here. The first thing is, families, we're going to ask that you, if you can, to hold your questions till the end of the presentation, because we actually might answer your question during the course of our time together. Secondly, the chat will be available for you to drop questions in, which will be totally fine, and we will also do those closer to the end in order that we receive them, okay? We know how to do this. We've done Zoom for a year now. In my mind, it's not like riding a bike, but it really is like riding a bike. So for those families who speak Spanish, we have Miss Annie as our Spanish interpreter. And in a minute, I'm gonna set Miss Annie and Miss Raja, who will be interpreting for Arabic tonight. And I will set them into their interpreter category. And I'm going to do that now, Annie, so that you can assist families. What I need you guys to do is look at the bottom of your screen, and you'll find a little globe, a round circle that's checker marked. And I'm going to go ahead and click Start, friends. And you'll find 3 channels. And if you are English speaking, I need you to register for the English channel. If you are Spanish speaking, please click Español. And if you are Arabic speaking, please click Arabic. It'll be a globe at the bottom of your screen. If you are logged in on your child's Chromebook, it might not work for you. You would likely need to log in through a phone or a personal device. Hold on just a second. I'm going to end interpreters. Annie, could you please interpret Spanish for how to click the channel or where to find the globe, please?
Y claro que sí, buenas noches. Para esas familias que necesitan interpretación en español, la directora acaba de explicar cómo pueden encontrar el botón correcto. En la parte inferior de su computadora pueden encontrar un botoncito que parece como un mundo. Si le hacen clic a ese botoncito van a aparecer varios idiomas, ya sea inglés, español o árabe. Si necesitan español, por favor, hagan clic al español. Si necesitan árabe al árabe o si prefieren inglés al inglés y entonces les pone en el canal preferido.
Thank you. And Ms. Raja? Oh, you're muted, friend. Mr. Cruz, could you check settings and make sure that she can unmute herself, please? I think I would need to set her as co-host. Let's try this. All right, Ms. Raja, go ahead and try. Stand by. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, I'm working on trying to find her. So hang tight.
Okay. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, good
There
now.
we go. Go ahead, Raja.
اللي حابب يستعمل الميزة متاع بالعربي بتنقر على هاي العلامة المكتوب عليها interpretation، تنقر عليها بتطلع لك الاثنين بإما العربي أو الإسباني. أنتوا بتختاروا العربي وبعدين بالنسبة للي بيستعمل الكمبيوتر متاع المدرسة متاع students ما بيشتغل. الأفضل إنكم تستعملوا الكمبيوتر الشخصي أو الآيباد أو السيلفون. بهاي كيفية يمكن. شكرا. Thank you.
Thank you. You might, for a mobile device or an iPhone, you might need to swipe from top to bottom to find the toolbar. I know I learned the other day that
Están en un teléfono celular o en un, oh, sorry, miss.
No,
I
go
thought I
ahead.
was still on the Spanish channel. I didn't know that you could hear me. I will
That's
wait
okay.
until you finish.
Okay, for the iPad, I do know that you do need to click up on the iPad in order to find the interpretation channel. So I encourage you at this time to go ahead and try to find that and then choose the English, the Spanish, or the Arabic. And
Están en una tableta, posiblemente tienen que hacer el swipe de arriba para abajo para poder encontrar el botón correcto para elegir el idioma preferido.
عشان تختاروا القناة العربية في الآيباد خصوصا ممكن عايزين تنزلوا الشاشة لتحت عشان تشوفوا ميزة هاي اللغة.
All right, I'm going to open the channels now. So let's go ahead and try this. And please remember that we are recording, so this will be posted onto the district website and also onto YouTube so that families can refer to this information.
Ella va a abrir el canal de interpretación y por favor recuerden que esto se está grabando y se va a poner en el sitio de internet del distrito.
All right. And Sam, can you remind me, do I need to select English or am I just good to go in this current state I'm in?
I'm pretty sure we're good to go in this.
Great. All right. Next slide, please. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so some of the topics we're going to cover tonight, remembering that interpretation is available and we're recording our meeting. We're going to do some of these things here listed on the left: land acknowledgement, some information about Spruce and Spruce now at a different building. We're going to talk about school. We're going to talk about COVID, and then there'll be some times for questions. All right, next slide, please. Thank you, Sam. So we start with our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the original inhabitants of this place, the Stahovish people and their successors, the Tulalip tribes, who since time immemorial have taken care of, hunted, fished, and gathered on these lands. We respect their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, and we honor their sacred spiritual connection with the land and the water. By acknowledging these homelands, we commit to working with tribal nations to further the education aims they have identified in our classrooms and schools. And next slide, please. And interpreters, if you could just give me a thumbs up if you're good to go for the next slide, that'd be great. All right, next slide, please. All right, so the big news, right? The levy passed. They are currently working on a brand new Spruce Elementary School. Yay, this is so exciting. At the same time, you might know that we moved from the old Spruce over here to Former Alderwood Middle School. And I'd like you to take note of this address. This is where the buses will come when they are coming to Spruce this coming year. Our phone number is the same. Many of our staff are the same. We're just in a different building. And I have to tell you, I'll show you some pictures in a while. It's beautiful. One thing about this map, it's a little bit hard to read. I think the best thing to say is if you know where Barnes & Noble and Whole Foods and the car wash on the corner, we're back in the residential area behind that. And just a reminder, if you need Arabic translation and interpretation, you just click the interpretation globe at the bottom and select Arabic. Next slide, please. Okay, so if you are a 1st through 6th grade student, the first day of school is Wednesday, September 8th. That is this coming Wednesday. If you have a kindergartner, their first day will be Monday, September 13th, so that kindergarten teachers and parents can meet for a parent connection meeting. And I know it seems like a hugely long way off. June 24th, 2022 is the last day of school. And just in terms of Spruce, yes, we will be moving back to the new school, likely in the end of July, August. Next slide, please. All right, so specific about Spruce and transportation. I know we're going to get questions about this. So all Spruce students that are within the Spruce boundary will have an assigned bus stop, and that assigned bus stop is available for you in Skyward right now. It also came home to you by mail to your home mail address, like snail mail, like US mail. I received mine for my oldest son because we live outside 1 mile, and got his route just a couple days ago. We're going to talk a little bit later about Skyward Family Access, which is a program that we use to organize and keep all this information. Just like in the past, if you've done parent pickup in the past, you know it's an adventure. We do have parent pickup and drop off that is also available. Please make certain that you follow all signage and stay in your car through pickup and drop off so that we can keep the traffic flow moving. And no walking, please. And I say this, families, because we are not at Old Spruce. We are all the way across the district, and we don't want our young dragons walking that distance. All right, next slide, please, Stan. So I've put together a few pictures so that you can see we have been working furiously to get everything ready to go. So as you pull into the campus, we're going to show you a video and a map in a minute. You will, like every year past, receive a tag with your student's name on it the first few days of school. This is specifically for parents who are dropping off and picking up. So you have that tag, it says Emily Moore. And when you come onto the property, you put it in your dash so that when you come around the loop, we can see who, which student we need to send. And you can see those numbered signs. And yes, I'm pointing at my screen as if you can see my finger, but you can see those signs. You've seen them in the past, maybe for when we were back at Spruce. So 6 stations. And that's really why we want you to stay in your car, because if your parent drop off and pick up, your student will meet you at that number based on the tag and a bunch of adult supervision. Next slide, please. There we go. Okay, so I know this looks really complicated, but what I wanted to show is a little bit of the property. So if you see the, Sam, if you could put your cursor over the parent pickup drive there where they would come in. So you come into the property down by 28th, and instead of going towards the bus loop, you turn immediately left at that first road. There's a stop sign underneath visitor parking where Miss Debbie will be, and she'll be watching traffic to make certain that we're not blocking the bus. Bus is leaving. You'll go straight past the cafe, you'll turn right, and we'll show this in a video in a few minutes. You'll follow the loop around. This is for the morning. There will be teachers and staff there to supervise. The red asterisk, the red star, is students getting out, and they walk through the gap with teacher supervision and support to the courtyard. Now, a decision is to be made here at the courtyard. If your student eats breakfast, and they eat breakfast at school, they could turn right and go into supervised breakfast. socially distant, with masks and hand sanitizer. If they already eat breakfast at home because we are late start, they would be asked to go and wait in the gym. They will be lined up 3 feet distanced with masks and supervision by a classroom teacher so that we're keeping everybody safe and contained. And at 9:10, our teachers will come into the gym and meet their students, stand their lineup, and escort them to their classrooms using our nice open hallways and staying 3 feet apart. I invite students to bring a reading book as they're sitting and waiting. They could bring in homework. They could bring a reading book. Did I say reading book? This is a wonderful time for them to calm themselves and get their hearts and their bodies ready for the school day. So this is arriving at Spruce. Next slide, please. So you'll see kind of the reverse here. I mean, it's the same kind of thing, but you'll come in the same way, you'll turn left the same way, you'll follow it past the cafe, you'll turn right. And remember the picture from the slide before, those 6 stations where we will have staff to support. We'll read your tag. It'll say Emily Moore. You're going to pick up Emily Moore, 3rd grader. And they're going to say, Emily Moore, go to number 1. And then Emily Moore will get into the correct car. The teachers will bring students around and they will drop students supervised where the blue star is. They will bring the rest of their class through the gap. And if your student has enrolled in Right at School, that little winter green, winter blue star, then the Right at School people will come out and supervise students into the auxiliary gym and the gym. And then teachers will deliver, if you follow the pink, if your student rides a bus, your teacher will deliver each student to the correct bus. If I could see you all, I would say, raise your hand if you've heard me say right student, right mode, right time. I have a true commitment with 4 children and 457 Spruce kiddos that we're going to get the kids to the right place at the right time with the right mode. So I wanted to show this to you. So one of the pieces about this that is so important is that we really want students as much as possible to stick with their routine. So as much as possible, if your student is going to be parent pickup, great. Let's keep that pretty consistent. If your student is going to be bus, great. Let's keep that consistent. If you have a change, that's okay. But we would really want to know that by 3 o'clock. Please write that down. Any changes to the afternoon schedule, and that would be something like they had a dentist appointment that you couldn't schedule later, and you have to get them, get them early, or you don't have to get them early, but they usually would ride the bus, but you have to pick them up to go to the dentist. That's completely fine. But we really want to be consistent in our procedures and consistent in our routines so the kids know where they're going. And yes, teachers literally walk every student to the door of their bus. It is not one of those cases where, the teacher just stops at the courtyard and lets them go. Nope. Right kid, right mode, right time. Thank you. Next slide. Oh, wait, can we go back for just one moment, please? So it's really important, if you see the pink here and the 2 gray lines underneath, please do not drive past the signage that will be where Sam's cursor is over here, because that will be for buses only, for buses only. If you've ever tangled with a school bus, we want school buses to have their own lane, and we want parents to have their own lane. And so we want you to please follow the route that's there. Thank you. Next slide. Thank you, Sam. Okay. Teacher information is available today, and you can use your Skyward to access this information. You go in and you click on your student, and it'll show, if you click schedule, it should show you who your student is assigned to. If you need assistance with this, please do call our office. We are here during office hours, basically 8:15 to 4:30 daily, and you can call that number there. And thank you. Next slide. I wanted to show some pictures. I know that there's a lot of worry out there because we're sending our kiddos to a middle school. I want to say that this might be the most beautiful old school I've ever seen. It is shiny and bright, and I'm going to show you some pictures. A couple of examples here of the play toy and the grassy knoll behind. We have a black top for basketball and a little patch for soccer. There's a big, huge field and a track above that we're actually not going to use to start. We want to keep kids contained. It is a large middle school size track. Our PE teacher, Miss Gonzalez, will likely take some students up there to do some running. But our teachers have transformed. Mr. Staub, Mr. Rick, our custodian, and Jordanos and Ruda have transformed this building into a socially distant, safe, really clean environment. And our teachers have come in and they've started to set up their classrooms and set up some art to make it really bright and inviting. In terms of the day in the life, we are learning bell to bell here. This is really, really important. Yes, I just see a question. Yes, they will use playground equipment. We'll talk about that in a little bit later. Thanks, Ryan. Lots of learning ahead of us. So it's important that students are here for the whole day. Reading, writing, and math, social studies, science, and PE, and so much more, including some social emotional learning, morning meetings, and activities during the day that support both art and relationships with students. Our teachers do an excellent, excellent job with this. I also want to celebrate that as of today, every grade level has aligned reading, writing, and math times, which really allows for a lot of collaboration across the system. Next slide, please. All right, so we have a video that Sam and Ben made for us. This has a little bit of text. It's in English and Spanish, and so if Miss Annie and Miss Raja, if you need to speak over the video, you can. This is called our walkthrough video. This is going to show you the drive route. This is going to show you the hallways and some classrooms and the cafe. I do want to say you're going to see some signage for COVID safety. You're going to see desks separated at 3 feet, which is the directive right now. You're going to see lunchroom tables that are at the tables are set 3 feet and 6 feet apart to the best extent possible. You're not going to yet see arrows on the floor in the hallways. I just want to assure you that those arrows are coming and they will be ready by Wednesday morning if I have to get down on my hands and knees and do them and tape them myself. So we do want 3 feet of distance traveling, and you saw from those traffic maps, the black map, that we do have flow in place, and teachers have been trained in all of our routines and procedures. So Sam, let's hope this works. If you could please, just for the sake of connectivity, please turn off your video by saying stop video. That will help us to hopefully stream this video a little bit better. So we'll give you a second to do that. Thank you so much. You'll still be able to see our video, but if you stop your video, it'll help us connect better. All right, thank you, Sam. Right, thank you so much. A couple of things to note. In fact, even since this was it's not called videotaped anymore. And ever since this was recorded, there have been more preparations for COVID. In fact, the library is all facing, they're 3 feet and facing the same direction now. So just to note, thank you so much. We're going to share screen so that we can get back to our presentation. And then I'm going to show you a couple more pictures, and then we're going to go into some information for the district and for COVID. So thanks for hanging with us. Really appreciate it. I have my video on. I have my mute off so you can hear me. And Sam, could you go ahead and please share screen?
Yeah, sorry, it got kind of glitchy there when I stopped.
Yeah, no worries. Great video too. And yes, in case you're wondering, this slide deck will be available for you to reference. I think it's important that you actually review that video again at home when there's not so many people on, so it's less glitchy. So I just wanted to take a couple of pictures to really show you the space. On the top left, a hallway, those will have arrows on the right side and the left side. And basically just think through, in the morning, they're on the right heading into class, and on the afternoon, they're on the right heading out. And there's a whole traffic pattern that they follow so that classes don't cross. Our teachers have been starting to put up artwork, and that's one of them outside of the kindergarten unit. We have 2 courtyards that are just beautiful. I thought I'd capture some of those. You saw the lunchroom. That's actually about a week ago, so it's actually gotten even more detailed. And then I took a picture outside the double doors, and I want to talk about this for just a minute. I'm going to pause for interpretation so that they can complete their thought there. And I'm trying to find Miss Annie so I can actually see her. There we go. All right, see you. Okay, so Sam, if you could hold your cursor over the main office there and kind of circle it. So these are the main entry doors. These are the doors that will be the only doors that will be unlocked during the day. For you parents of kindergartners, first and seconds, and even sixths, you notice a lot of halls. It's actually kind of a great big H letter. Lots of halls, lots of light, but you know, for those of you thinking about, wow, this is an elementary school in a middle school, I want to be really clear about security. We're going to follow all safety, COVID safety protocols, but we're also going to follow all safety and security protocols. So these 2 doors right by the main office will be the only doors that are unlocked. And they're unlocked so that parents and community can access the main office. And I have office staff that can watch and be vigilant about that, so that people don't pass into the building that are not supposed to be there. One note, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, part of the reason why we're on Zoom tonight instead of in person, which I would have loved. We had originally scheduled this evening to be in person, a great open house, and because of COVID and the Delta variant, we had to not do that. And so the building is currently closed, except to students, staff, and parents if you need to come and conduct school business in the office. But it doesn't mean that our heart is not open and waiting for the day when we can all be back and have these evening events that feel so good for us. Next slide, please. So a couple of pieces here, you know, there's signage in classrooms and signage in bathrooms that talk about fighting illness. Face masks are required indoors and outdoors. And we really want to encourage students to wash hands often. Department of Health guidelines asks us to use hand sanitizer and 3-ply masks. And we do have a large collection of spare masks. As I said earlier, there will be arrows down the hallways. The desks are placed at 3 feet apart to the best extent possible. The lunchroom also has correct spacing. And you'll see the picture of the blue X. We've notated where students can sit and where students shouldn't sit in order to create the space for that. So we're following all of those guidelines. Our number 1 priority is the health and safety and security of our dragons. And so we will do this with love. We will do it together. It's been a hard year. And the priority is to have our students healthy and safe at school, and our staff too, because we're all in this together. Thank you, Sam. And next slide. So the rest of the presentation is really around COVID safety and some other details around school. Some of this direction is from the district. And when I say from the district, I really mean the Edmonds School District with the guidance of Dr. Spitters and the Department of Health. So for the health and safety of everyone in our buildings, masks are required inside and out. We will maintain physical distancing. And before arriving at school or a district building, we're going to check for COVID-19 symptoms. And when I say that, we really want parents to ask their kids how they feel. And if they have a symptom, they should stay home. This is for the health and safety of them, but also for people around them. Stay home when you feel sick. Next slide, please. There is a COVID handbook. Education is wrought with handbooks, and that's okay. This COVID handbook is our guide for how we conduct health and safety in the buildings, and it will be updated throughout the year. The link is here. And families, I do want to let you know that it will also live in the Spruce News. And Mr. Cruz, please write down Spruce News and remind me about it at the end. And this is a live document, so it is not a one-time. It will continue to evolve throughout the year. Thank you, Sam. Next slide. Let's go. All right, so just a reminder of COVID-19 symptoms. If you're a child or you have a new onset of a headache and you don't typically get headaches, if there's a sore throat, a sudden loss of taste or smell, if there's congestion or runny nose unrelated to allergies, if there's nausea or vomiting or diarrhea, those are all symptoms. And if students have those, they should stay home. Students should stay home when they're sick. Next slide, please. We are routinely cleaning all the way through the building, high touch areas, highly used areas, especially areas that have higher risk of generating aerosols and bodily fluids, lunchroom, but also high touch areas like handles of classroom doors, bathrooms, wash sinks, and handles for toilets, flush handles for toilets and things like that. It is regular throughout the day. Our custodial staff is wonderful and they do a really great job. Also, classrooms have an ample supply of wipes. They have an ample supply of hand sanitizer and masks and gloves in the room as well. Thank you. Next slide. So in terms of ventilation and airflow, our HVAC systems across the district have been set to maximize airflow coming in so that the air is upgraded and changed regularly. And I can vouch for this, that if you walk into the gym, there's a full breeze in the gym, which is great, and all through the building. Next slide, please. So students and staff are required to wash or sanitize upon entering the building and wash or sanitize frequently throughout the day. In your time at home, when you have this slide deck, you can take a look at that video. It's I think super cute with kids showing how to appropriately wash hands. Anytime a student leaves or enters a classroom, we want them to either wash or hand sanitize. This allows us to really limit the touch contact piece. Even if a student is going to the restroom, we want them to hand sanitize so that they touch surfaces in the bathroom before they then wash their hands, that we're being as safe as possible. Thank you. Next slide. All right, mask is required both inside and outside. I know that's it's hard. I think it's hard for adults and it's hard for kids. And this is what I want to say, families. I'm looking at you in the eye. We had students on campus last year. They wore their masks. They did wonderfully. They were so happy to be at school. We had students in Jumpstart for about a week, a couple weeks ago, last week, and they didn't have any problems. We've got this. And if you want to look at a video about appropriate mask wearing, there's a video there that's super cute, but just a reminder that the mask needs to be over the nose and the mouth. And we do have youth size masks available. And we're going to give reminders and teaching about it. We are a community, so we're going to do this together. Thank you. Next slide. So we talked about this a little bit. So because of COVID, we have limited access inside our school for now. Again, we really are excited and can't wait for the day when we can again have parent volunteers, when we can have people in the hallways and walking our students to class. In the meantime, we have a whole crew of staff that are set up and planned and ready to help as students transition throughout each day. But our campuses are closed to non-school individuals for now. I wish we had typed the words "for now" in there. This includes family and community volunteers. And just to be clear, that includes our families too. You know, when I want to bring my kids in to help me on a project, I can't do that. And so that applies to all of us. It has to be school business. So sorry, my phone popped. The main office is open to members who have school business or have urgent needs. I also encourage you to email us and call us. We are here and ready to assist. All right, next slide, please. All right, the vaccine. The vaccine is currently required from Governor Inslee for all school employees, and we will be working over the next few weeks to create a system to verify the vaccine status. Right now, for students, it is available for anyone 12 years and older. I would encourage you to go to the Snohomish Health District's website to learn more. And I believe that you may have received an email from Communications Department about some free vaccine clinics that are coming up in the area soon. Thank you, Sam. Next slide, please. One thing about Spruce and many schools in the district, we got this last year, we do have COVID testing available to test students and staff at our school for COVID-19. Along with mask wearing, vaccines and testing is the key mitigation strategy, excuse me. And I do want to say this very clearly, parents. If a student comes to school, they feel fine, and then suddenly in class they get a headache and they get really sleepy, we bring them to the office, and we're going to evaluate them in the sense of talk to them about what symptoms they're feeling and how they feel, and then we're going to call you. We're not going to randomly test kids. This is something that is very important to note, that your permission and signing a paper is absolutely necessary. So while we have testing, this is a parent permission driven, and we're not going to do that without your permission and signing some forms and things. The testing is free, and one of the reasons why we put this together at Spruce was so that families didn't have to figure out how to get a test. And having done that myself, it can be really quite complicated if you haven't done it before. So that's the piece around testing. Again, it would be parent permission only. And we did this last year as well, parent permission provided as well, and it was actually quite successful. All right, next slide, please, Sam. Thank you. All right, so let's talk about music and performing arts. At this time, the Washington State Department of Health, the guidance ensures that all students have access to their performing art of choice. This includes music, it includes band, it includes orchestra, and there are special safety pieces in place for music, for students who are singing, for band students who are playing a trumpet or a trombone, or another wind instrument like flute or clarinet. And so you'll have this link to check that out. They have for band, they have a special mask. And again, 3-foot distancing in those classrooms as well. And the air is on. So the same safety requirements for performing arts, but we are allowing that back in the schools based on the Department of Health's guidance. Thank you. Next slide, please. All right, so this is really for high school, middle school. My son, Christian, is starting football this fall. He is almost taller than me. Currently at Spruce, we don't have athletics like football teams or soccer teams, but we will have Moves 60, and there'll be some information coming out about that soon. Next slide, please. School bus information. So passengers and drivers on the school buses are required to wear a mask while on the school bus. And this is really important. We are having a shortage of bus drivers. We'll talk about that more in a little bit. But bus stop and route information, as I said at the beginning, is available in Skyward. It also would have been mailed to you to be received by Monday of this week. Next slide, please. Yeah. All right, again this year, there's free breakfast and lunch for all students, and that's being provided as part of the support for our families during this time of COVID. I'm just trying to go to the right spot here on mine. Sam, can you go back one slide, please? We missed one spot. There we go. So just let's pop back to buses for a minute, please. There is a new app that you can get for families to access route information. So where your bus stop is, what number your bus route is, and also to track changes and updates. I think this is really cool for you to get if you can do it. So let's say that it is December and the weather is terrible and a bus had a mechanical difficulty and they're delayed. Your child is safe, they're on the bus or they've been moved to a new bus with the same route, and you would be able to access this information to see what the status of the bus is. So if you're waiting at the bus stop and they're usually there at 4:10 and it's now 4:15, you have access to this app where you can access that information. And again, they'll be receiving this slide deck, so you'll have all these links. And I saw that Mr. Cruz popped that link in the chat. Thank you. Next slide. Now we're going to talk about free breakfast and lunch. So breakfast meals are free at school for the entire school year, and menus are available at that link below. I do want to talk a little bit about the free and reduced lunch program. I think that's the next slide, Sam, if you wanted to go and head that direction. So when we think about free meals, we typically, when we have our free and reduced program, families would fill out a form and qualify. They would complete the application for a free and reduced meal. But I want to say when we have these free meals, it prompts parents to not fill it out. But I wanted to let you know that it would be helpful if every one of the families at Spruce filled it out, even though meals are free this year, because it provides additional benefits, such as support for your middle school or high school or course fees, or if your ninth grader wants to play football, it would help support sports fees, as well as it could reduce cost for internet. The other piece too is that schools, when they hit certain numbers of families who qualify, also receive extra support to support reading and to support reading learning, to support the purchase of books. If you received free books from Spruce in the past number of years, but especially last year, those were provided for by monies to support reading in schools. All right, next slide, please. And then there's a little bit of information here about financial support. And you have some resources there that you can access. Additionally, if you need support or just need someone to talk to help support your family, we are here. Sorry, I muted myself. I don't know why. Can you hear me now? Okay, great. So I think what I would say is we're here to help and support, and Miss Annie is here, and Miss Andrea is here, and I am here, and Miss Samantha Bircher is also here, and we have a number of resources to help support families who have the need, and you are part of us, and so we are a family, and we're going to do this together. Sorry about that. I don't know why I clicked my mute. All right, so I know that there's some questions in the chat about Skyward and how to access Skyward. So Skyward is a program name for our system for families to access your students' educational records and school information. When you log into Skyward, you will find everything from student grades to contact information to bus route information. And families, I want to look you in the eye. I use this every day for my own kids. I can access their grades for my middle schooler. I can access, did I say his grades? I can access their attendance and so much more. And it's the way that you can access your child's teacher assignment tonight and your route information. So there'll be more information coming, and Mr. Cruz, make sure to remind me about Spruce News, okay? And next slide, please. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. And I know we're hitting up on 7 o'clock, so if you have a middle schooler meeting tonight that was previously scheduled, or a meeting for your high school, you can feel free to drop off, and this recording will continue, and we'll send the slide deck to you, or if you can stick it out, we have just 5 more slides and then time for questions. So thank you so much for sticking with it. Okay, so learning plan. When your student is out sick or needs to isolate, quarantine due to COVID-19. So if your student has symptoms of COVID and is determined that they need to quarantine, and it's just your student or just a few students in the classroom, they would receive assignments to complete at home, and those likely would be paper assignments. There is information about the attendance policy, and the piece that's really important that I know that's on the minds and hearts of the folks in this meeting is if the number of students that have close contact, the number of students that maybe were exposed maybe would be the entire classroom, then that entire classroom would go into remote learning for that time. Or if it was a grade level, that whole grade level would move to remote learning. Now, when I say that, it's important to note that remote learning in terms of the K-8 online academy is a different school for the year. So likely no parents here are here. They would be at the remote academy meeting. But unlike last year, it wouldn't be something where your student, if you just wanted them to go remote today for a few weeks, that's not the thing. We would only be remote if the entire classroom or the school needed to quarantine due to exposure. And I know you'll have questions about that, and I will answer them at the end. Next slide, please. Thank you, Sam. It's coming. I see it there. As we wait for that to pop in. Your Chrome, yeah, we got it. Thank you. The student Chromebook, super important just because of where we are with the Delta variant, that your student bring their Chromebook home each day. That should come to school and come home. Chromebook and charger cable. This is important should we need to quarantine. And your student would still have access to their Chromebook. All K-12 students are issued a district-owned Chromebook. It looks like a little laptop. It's specific for students to use for schoolwork. If you were a Spruce student or an Edmond School District student last year, you likely had one assigned to you, and kindergarten students, you will also receive one. In terms of kindergarten parents and the weight of the backpack, it's not very heavy. A kindergarten student can easily carry it to and from school in their backpack. Thank you, Sam. Next slide. We're almost there. All right. I talked about there's some need in our community, in our district community. If you know somebody who is looking for a job, I would encourage you to check out this website, ESD Jobs. We are especially in need of school bus drivers and food service workers. I do want to say that bus drivers and food service workers are some of our most lovely people who work really hard, and sometimes they're the first contact with our kiddos. So it's a lovely group of people. And next slide, please. All right, so now's the time for questions. We made it. Let's give everybody a pat on the back. We got through. Awesome. Lots of information here. So I'm going to ask that you type your questions in the chat, and then we are going to transition, if we could please, team, to the can we just click on the thank you for joining us slide once there, Sam? And then we're going to go ahead and stop share screen, and we'll go ahead and move towards questions.
All right,
Awesome.
Emily, couple things that I'm seeing come up in the chat. First one, what do we do if we don't have internet at home?
Yeah, so there's resources available to get you internet. So that would be something where we would want you to reach out to our office, and you'd probably talk to Sam to work on getting internet access. I'd like to take a question from Shannon and Daniel, the Holtz family. Hi, Daniel. Go ahead, Shannon. I think you can unmute.
Okay, so I have just two questions.
Okay.
The first one is, you said the doors were locked from the
Yes.
from the outside. What if, like, let's say Daniel goes to the bathroom or something and he goes outside and he's not gonna be able to get back in, right?
So all of the bathrooms are interior. So unlike Spruce, where they had external doors, there's no exterior access to the classrooms. So his teachers will take him on field trips to the restrooms, and they actually schedule that. That's part of their routine. All of the external doors are locked from the outside. But the likelihood of him going out the door and not being supervised is very, 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 very low, because students are supervised where they go. So that likelihood is very low. And of course, what we really don't want to have is the doors unlocked all the way down the building and have some random adult be able to walk in. Next question, Shannon.
That makes sense.
Totally.
And then the second one is, on their first day when they come in and they are guided to go to the gym. I know you said that after the routine, they start to get lined up. How will he know where to go if he doesn't really know who his teachers and stuff are?
Sure. So we will have staff out there. In fact, the entire year, we will have staff supervising and teams of people out, the same people per station, so that the face won't change. The first few days of school, we will have teachers and staff out with lists. So they'll meet Daniel. He'll see a familiar face in Miss Donzie in the courtyard, and a number of other teachers, including Mr. Robert and me, and he'll say, "Who's my teacher?" And then we will ask him if he needs breakfast, if he's coming off the bus or from parent pickup. And then if he doesn't need breakfast, we will walk him into the gym, and the students will be lined up by their classroom, and there are classroom signs with their name and the teacher's picture, and there will be adults there to supervise them finding their spot. So this is a practice that actually, it feels maybe a little bit scary, but actually it stops us from having kids roam to try to find the random classroom. So that's actually a good thing. And teachers will come to the gym and they will see their students and they will greet them and line them up and take them through the routine. So does that help?
Okay. Yeah, thank
Great.
you.
And I'm so excited to see you, Mr. Daniel. It's so wonderful. All right, Mr. Cruz, another question from the chat, please.
Yes. Is there a daily form we have to fill out about symptoms?
Great question. No, last year, if you came to school, we talked about a health form or an attestation. That attestation is not required this year, so we're not doing it. When I say that though, parents, I really need you to check. If they're saying they have a stuffy nose, they need to stay home. So while there's no attestation, I really need you guys to lean in, like, how are you feeling today? Good to go? Okay, absolutely. All right, from Michelle WH. Hello, Michelle Hellwig. Go ahead and unmute and ask your question. Michelle, can you hear me? Do you have a question?
Yes. Yes.
Hi, guys. Hi.
Will the kids get mass breaks during the day? And
So yes, and the second question?
and then do they need to take their chargers to and from school with their computers?
Great question. Yes, they do need to bring their power cable for their Chromebook, just in case, because if we do need to quarantine a class, we want them to be able to plug in for days on end, so the battery won't last, right? So that's the answer to that question. Mask breaks, you know, it's not going to be a common practice. We did have a few cases last year where the student just absolutely had to take a moment. They stepped outside the doorway at the old Spruce and took their mask off for a second when there were no other students and humans around, but their teacher could see them through the window. That's a little bit more challenging, but right now the guidance from the Department of Health is indoors and outdoors. You know, that said, this isn't easy, you know, so we're going to be understanding if they just need to pull it off their face for a second. You know, we don't want it to be wholesale, because we want to be safe, but we understand that this is hard. So
Hello.
say that again. Can't hear you. Say that again.
The mask is really hard on his asthma.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I hear you. I wish I could have a different answer. I wish I could. Okay, Ben, next one.
Yeah, so two, first one is quick. How early can families drop off their students?
8:50 is the earliest, please. 8:50 is the time when buses will start arriving, when breakfast opens, and when all teacher supervision and staff supervision is outside, okay? 8:50.
And the second one, will families be dropping off school supplies a day before school opens this year?
The building is not open. The office is open. If you would like to come into the office and drop off your supplies, that would be acceptable. Or if your student is a larger student and they can carry them in their backpack, that would be okay too. But we will be able to receive supplies, but please don't expect to sneak down the building. So. All right, I'm looking at Anila's hand. Anila, go ahead and unmute. Nice to see you. Almost, Anila, almost there. Go ahead and if you can unmute yourself, Anila, that would be great.
Hello.
Hi, I can hear you
Hi,
now.
can you hear me?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I don't know why it was not working. Thank you so much for the detailed information.
Thank
So
you.
I would like to know that my son is like a picky eater, and kindergarten is the first experience for him. What kind of support is, would be there from the staff who will be not eating, or is there any regular watch just to encourage them?
Yes, we have staff who are in the lunchroom with students and who are moms themselves, and they keep a close eye on students and will gently remind them to, eat their carrot or try to have a little bit more milk. We do have experience with picky eaters, and so it's something that they are very, very aware of. We find that once kids get into the cafeteria setting, that some of that pickiness sometimes goes away because they're with their peers. If you have a student who's an older student, sometimes it is also the case where, especially older 6th grade boys and girls, will sometimes not eat because they're trying to diet, and they also kind of keep track of that to help us make sure that we're supporting kids to eat, because it is important for them to access. Does that help?
Because it's a long day. And second, I would like to know, what is the policy for the kids who's wearing glasses in terms of seating arrangement? I said,
So yeah, great question. So if your student uses reading glasses and specifically to see the whiteboard or to see the teacher across the room, we would just want you to communicate that with the teacher and let them know, just so that they can make that accounting in the seating chart, so that they can seat closer to the teacher and closer to the board if needed. Totally acceptable, very common.
And okay, so we have to inform to the teacher.
I think that would be great. Yeah, just to connect with them. And Anila, your kindergartner will have a parent connection meeting. And so, but those first, the 8th, 9th, or 10th. And so you'll have an opportunity to talk with them about that. Thank you so much.
That's great. Thank you, Mrs. Moore. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Benjamin, you're next.
Yes, and this is kind of based off of her question. Where will kindergartners eat lunch?
So kindergartners will be eating lunch in the classrooms this year. I know, big surprise. It's actually something that we used to do a lot of during my time at Spruce and before. They will be supervised. Each classroom will have adult supervision during that time. They'll have recess first. The school luncher kiddos will grab their lunch with supervision from the cafe, and they will be walked back to the classroom, where they will then eat their lunches. They will be 3 to 6 feet apart during that time. We're working on that to the best extent possible. And they will be with their own cohort, which I think is really, really important. The other piece too for nervous parents is that the cafe can feel really big to kindergartners. So we really want to give them the opportunity to have their adults around them and have a more controlled environment. All right, I'm looking at Imran's screen. Hi, Imran. What's your question?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
What's your question, my friend?
My question is 2 things actually.
Okay.
When are 5th graders starting?
5th graders will start school on the first day of school on September 8th. And the school day is 9:20 to 3:50.
Okay. And the second one is, how will we know our teacher?
So you will either access Skyward, and if that's hard, you can have your parent call the school and we can let you know what your teacher assignment is, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Of course, my friend, I'm looking forward to seeing you. Ben, your turn?
Yes. Is the drop-off or before care method the same as regular drop-off? And will before care staff be meeting students outside?
Great question. Yes, drop-off is very, very similar to where it was at Old Spruce. It's just on a different campus. So similar signage. We want you to stay in your car. We want you to follow the loop. You'll have a tag for student names. Very similar to how we did this at Old Spruce, just at a different site. And then what was the other part of that question, Ben?
Will before care staff be meeting students outside?
Yes, so before care staff will be meeting students. They're responsible for that. There's appropriate signage. And if you have right at school, you'll work through them to be certain, that you've rung the bell and that they come out or whatever their procedure is. Okay. Demetria, lovely to see you. What is your question, my friend?
Hi, Miss Moore. We
Hi.
just had a question. I attended Alderwood, so I know the cafeteria is a little not as big. So how are you
Mhm.
guys doing lunches this year? Is it gonna be in pods? I'm assuming the whole school isn't going at the same time, right?
Correct, correct. So believe it or not, and everybody, give a little cheer. We actually have 6 lunches this year. We typically have 3 or 4. There are other buildings right now that, due to their space and their schedule, they're having lunches with 170 kids. We do not have that case. Kindergarten are eating in the classrooms. First grade has their own lunch, second grade their own lunch, third grade their own lunch. They're a small cohort with 1 more class. And so the top range of students in the lunchroom is 87. They are socially distanced. In most cases, they're facing one direction. We do have a couple of lunches where they are staggered just because of space. The other piece too is if it is anywhere from warm and beautiful and blue skies to cloudy and not full on raining, we will have outdoor seating as well for students who want to sit outside with supervision. So we weren't able to do 7 distinct lunches just because of funding, but we were able to do 6. So we're standing in pretty good standing to the best extent possible.
How does that look for lunch times? How long will they have to eat? Because I know sometimes they feel sometimes a little rushed during lunchtime.
Yeah, so lunch times are 25 minutes.
Okay.
And that has not changed for Spruce. I think the piece that's really important to say is that typically there would have been 3 lunch choices pre-pandemic. Last year, there were grab and go bags of pre-wrapped, yogurt combo was like a string cheese and pre-wrapped yogurt and a pre-wrapped fruit. This year, thanks for the question, Ryan, that's because this goes along with Demetria's question. There are 2 choices. One is a hot lunch choice and one is basically a grab and go choice. So the lunches last year were beautiful. So something similar to that, but it won't be as complex. There won't be spoons to serve peaches. Everything that comes will be individually wrapped. So it will be much quicker in terms of the line, and there'll be much fewer students going through as in lunches past. So, we really did a good job last year with our flow maps, trying not to have kids cross, keeping cohorts together as much as possible. It'll be a little bit slower to start the year just with the second lunch choice, because that will be a hot lunch on a tray. Also, trays will be, for this year, they'll be foam, so that we don't have to worry about kids grabbing other people's plastic trays and having to deal with that this year. Does that help?
Yes. Do the kids need to know their codes by heart again too?
No, great
because
question.
it's free. So is it just kind of go through the line and Zoom?
It's free. They go through the line. We don't have to deal with scanning a code or entering a code. We really don't want our kiddos to be touching that number pad. So great question. Thank you. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Benjamin, you're next.
Yes. So we'll go through a couple. A parent filled out a student intent change form and is wondering if they still need to send their child to school in person before the district makes the decision.
Oh, that's a great question. What I know is that they have started to the superintendent, staff, and cabinet have started to make decisions on those, and that we do have a number of students. I'm so sorry. A number of students who have already been moved to remote learning for the year. So they should hear very, very soon because that's happening now. What I would ask you to do is actually call our office tomorrow and see what the status of that is, and just to make sure that we've got it and that it's been sent up to superintendent staff. The question around whether they should start or not, that's something that we would want to talk about because they've been accepting the remote settings for right now. So, and again, just a reminder to everybody, if you want the online learning academy remote setting, your student would be withdrawn from Spruce for the year, and they would be enrolled in the online academy. So it's not like last year where you can trade out for a month and come back, okay? It's more long-term, okay? Okay, it's Maria's turn. Maria, your chance to unmute. What questions do you have?
So the student will share the school with the middle school student, or Spruce Elementary will use the middle school, the whole school?
Yeah, great question, Maria. So for Alderwood Middle School, the building, it is just Spruce students, just Spruce Elementary, except for one department way on the end, which contains our what they call our e-hub, which is a space for our families who are experiencing homelessness, just a few families at a time. It's a separate program where they can come in and do laundry and access district internet and access food support. So in former Alderwood Middle School, we are not sharing with anybody else. There are no middle schoolers here, no high schoolers, just Spruce Dragons. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. And I have
Great.
another question.
Of course.
The entrance, it will be from 164th Street, or it has another entrance, this school? Because I went to this school before, but from 164th Street.
So I think it's really important to remember that this is the old Alderwood Middle School. So 164th is way away from us. So you would come down 196th and you would turn right past Whole Foods and turn left on 28th to get to us. 164th is the new Alderwood Middle School, the rebuilt school. So you want to come to the one that's on 20,000 28th Avenue West, okay?
Can you write for us the address, please?
Yes, we can. Benjamin, could you put the address in the chat for us? Thank you. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. Ben, could you go ahead and give us our next question?
Yes. So are buses going to have some level of social distancing? If not, how crowded will buses be given the shortage of bus drivers?
Great question, and it's a spot that's a little bit tough. We will have 5 buses for our school. We typically would have 5 or 6. There will be a few smaller buses for one of our programs. But what I know from transportation is that our buses will be pretty full. Windows will be open. But the same social distancing of 1 kid per seat last year is not going to be able to be maintained because we just don't have enough buses. So windows will be open, kids will be wearing masks, but this is a place where this is a hardship. So you know, we need folks to ride the bus if they can, or to drop off and pick up if they can, and walking is not possible. But I don't have a great answer for you there. They're doing the best that they can. They're hiring new bus drivers daily, but we're in a spot right here. So we're going to do everything we can to be safe. They do have kids hand sanitize upon entry and return. So for now, that's the answer. I'm sorry that it can't be, you know, 1 kid to a seat, but they will be relatively full. Thank you. And then Joseph, your question, you're the next hand. Nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you, Emily. Thank you for your nice presentation. I do have one question. My question is, if the school is open last semester, how was your experience of COVID-19 incident? How it is managed?
I think that's a wonderful question, Joseph. So last year for Spruce, we did not have a single student case of COVID on campus. We had a couple of times where students had symptoms of COVID. They were tested, but it wasn't COVID. It was just, you know, other things. We did have a few cases of adult COVID, but that was not something that they brought to the school. It was something that they got from other adult interactions and activities, like maybe they went to a family function and they had exposure. So no adult transferred COVID to any student at Spruce last year, and no student who had COVID from a family member or whatever, transferred that to anybody at school. There were a very few cases of students who had COVID, but it was before the start of the year and their exposure was from family, but they did not ever bring it to school. I think we did a really, really good job. Our safety procedures were solid, and we were successful. What I can say is that we're still going to continue to use all of those safety pieces, but the Delta variant, I can share that while I am today COVID negative, my family and I did get COVID this summer, and I'm vaccinated and my family was vaccinated. And so, you know, there's pieces there where we really do need to continue to wear our masks. And so I'm COVID negative today. My children are COVID negative, but it's a real thing. So does that help, Joseph?
Yeah, thank you, Emily.
Thank you so much. All right, Ben, you're next. And just a reminder, families, that you need to drop off because it's getting late and it's almost bedtime. You should feel free to do that. We'll continue on until we've answered every question. And you can access this recording, and you can also fast through it, through all of my stuff, and get to the questions at the end if you want to. Ben, do you have questions for me? Can you unmute, my friend? Yeah.
One of our students wanted to know, will there be helpers at lunchtime to help with the little ones, K, 1st through 3rd graders?
For right now, we will not have student helpers because we need to keep you guys in your classes, in your learning, and we don't want to mix as much as possible, okay? At some point in the future, I'm crossing my fingers, it is my hope that we will be able to do those things that we've done in the past to create community. Another question, Ben?
Yeah. How many kids are going to be in a class?
It depends on the grade level. Right now, we have about 15, 16 in kindergarten, about 22, 23 in the 1st grade, 2nd grade, about 23, 24 in 3rd grade, about 20, 21 in 4th grade. I'm trying to remember, you're quizzing me. I want to say 23, 24 in 5th grade and 27 each in the 2 6th grade classrooms. The 2 6th grade classrooms are larger spaces, so we're able to accommodate a few more bodies in there. Then let's take one more, and then I'll go to a hand.
Yes. So where do we find the student ID to use for the bus app?
So that will be in Skyward. If you open Skyward and you open Skyward Family Access, and you click on your student, it should show. It will be it will either be the first 5 letters of their last name, the first 3 letters of their first name, and the like 000 number, or it will be a 7-digit number that you'll see as alternate or other ID. I'm going to open my Skyward really quick so I can confirm that. I'll move to the next question from Chantel. Hello, friend.
When 3rd graders are going to go to school?
3rd graders will start school on September 8th. The only students that don't start on September 8th are kindergartners, and they start on September 13th. Thumbs up, right? Awesome, good job. I'll take a question from my friend Ya-Ying. Go ahead, friend.
When are we going to start school?
We're going to start school on Wednesday, September 8th. Write that down, okay, friend? Okay. Mr. Cruz, a couple more questions. Thank you.
Keep taking hands. We're all caught up.
Great. Ya-Ying, do you have another question, or are you good to go? Go ahead, friend.
What time does school start and leave?
What time
Do school start and leave?
You, if you are arriving on campus, school actually starts at 9:20. But if you're coming for breakfast or you're riding the bus, you'll arrive around 8:50.
And when do we leave?
You leave at 3:50. If you're riding the bus, about 3:57.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, my friend. All right, from Piper's mom. Hi, Piper's mom. I got you.
Okay.
Yep,
Hi.
there you go. Hi, nice to see you.
Hi, I have a couple of questions, and one of them is, will parents and grandparents be able to volunteer in the classrooms?
So the answer to that, unfortunately, right now is no.
Even if they're
No,
vaccinated or anything?
right, not right. No visitors in the building at all. Only school-based.
So the other question was, so no lunches with your kids on, you can't schedule one to have with your child?
Not, no, unfortunately. Now, let me say, this is something that is really, I have had more conversations about this, walking your child to your classroom door, having lunches with kids. I know it is a #1 priority for some of our families. I'm going to do everything I can to get us there. And I will let you know when the building is open. And I expect to see those people flooding our gates with, volunteering and having lunch with your kiddo and all that. It's just it's not about never. It's about not yet.
Yeah, no. Okay.
And we're just going to look on the horizon and keep that as our goal, because you're part of us too, right?
Yeah, and we love it there. So,
and
okay.
we love you guys. So thank you for that question. Good
Thank
question. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Yes. So, question, where can I change the bus stop? So this is a specific question. They got a bus stop that is further away than their previous bus stop.
Mhm.
They want to know if they can change.
So the way to change that, it would be, if it's possible to change, would be to call transportation. And Sam, if you could look up that number on the district website, that would be fantastic. We'll drop that number into the chat for you. And they're the ones that are in charge of the routes and the bus assignments and all that kind of stuff. And I know I have heard that a couple of routes, they were like right in front of basically right outside the front door. And then they moved like 2 blocks down a busy street. So it is important to contact transportation with that. I'm looking for Amga. I see you have your hand up. What is your question?
Hi, I was wondering about what they should bring on the first day of kindergarten, like except the school supplies.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So school supplies, can I use you, Amga, as a way to move into our Spruce News? I'm going to open up a Spruce newsletter, and I want to be certain that everybody here has seen our Spruce News for this past week. I'm going to share screen. So a lot of that information, Amga, it's found outside the office door, but in case you don't want to come to the office, you can find that in our Spruce News. And I want to see how many of you have received this. If you have received an email from my desk, from Mrs. Moore, from School Messenger, and it has this link to this newsletter, if you could please drop or put a thumbs up if you've received it, or drop a yes or no in the chat. And the reason, Amga, that I say this is all the information from my desk. This right now, this has information about this meeting tonight and about our move. It has our new temporary address. It has that map I showed you. It has the story around the move to Former Alderwood Middle. I'm scrolling. It has a message from Dr. Balderas, our superintendent. And then it has our family calendar here. If you click on that, you'll get our family calendar, one in Spanish. And here, Amga, is the supply list. So there are copies outside the main office, or if you want to access this, you can click here and it will open the Spruce supply list. I am going to try to grab that link and we'll drop it into the chat too. Copy. Stop share. My computer just slowed down because that's what happens with my computer. Let's give it a minute. Okay, here we go, chat. I'm going to drop that document into the chat, but If you are not getting the Spruce news, oh, that went to Annie. Stand by, everybody. Everyone in meeting. Thank you. It's in the chat. If you are not getting the newsletter, it looks something like that says Spruce News. We would want to know that so that we can make certain that your email address is correct, okay? Because that is the #1 way that I communicate with our families, all right? Does that help, Amga?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. There's a question in the chat. I have to leave in a moment. We're required to wear a uniform of some kind. No uniforms at Spruce, no uniforms in the Edmonds School District. That's a great question. Thank you. All right, Natalia, you have a question. Go ahead and unmute.
No, sorry, I was just trying to say that I got the newsletter.
Oh, great, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, Carly, you're next, my friend. Good to see you.
Oh, okay, great. Hi, Emily, thanks.
Hi, sure.
2 quick questions. 1, do kindergartners need to have labeled supplies or are they sharing supplies?
Oh, you are going to ask that, but Ben Cruz
Ben
is in the
can
room.
answer, yeah.
Ben, do you know the answer to that question? No, he doesn't.
Not for sure. I'm pretty sure it's gonna, to keep everyone safe, we're gonna do our best to keep supplies to the student.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And actually the follow-up to that is too, we really want individual supplies, meaning that they're going to have their, their bin. The other piece is they will receive a tag if they're riding the bus. If Poppy's riding the bus, Carly, they'll receive a bus tag with the bus route number. It's like one of those bracelets that snaps in place. And that is to help our adults make certain, and our teachers and everybody make certain, right kid, right mode, right time, right? So what's the next question?
So next question is, can you just repeat what you said about eating outdoors, and will kindergartners have that option as well?
So for now, when I say eating outdoors, for the 5 existing lunches in the cafe, they would eat in this courtyard here, supervised. We'll set up some tables, there'll be some benches. For kindergartners, they'll be eating in their classrooms, but they will have an opportunity, but it would be in, remember the pictures of the courtyards that I showed?
Yes.
And those courtyards are self-contained, so they could be outside underneath the Japanese maple. They've been trimmed. Don't ask me about the lawnmower that doesn't fit in there, but that's something for a different day. But they could be taken in there by their adult, and they could sit. There's actually a covered little area that they could sit if it's a little bit misty, but they can certainly sit on the grass.
Okay.
And eat outside. So they'll have that opportunity. It'll just be kind of about the day. We can do that more often when it's a little bit nicer and warmer.
Yeah.
But they do have that option. Absolutely.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much.
Great. Nice to see you.
You as well.
Thank you. All right. What about the chat, Ben? Are we almost there? Thanks for sticking with us. These are long meetings, but it's super important. Super important. Oh, I'm seeing some direct messages. So let me go back and check this.
I'm good with mine. So if you have ones for you.
If I miss you, I'm so sorry, please call us. Okay, how do we log into Skyward? Ben, can you drop that link to get into Skyward into the chat? Thanks, Eddie. Label bags, supplies, and jackets. Yes, Mrs. Moranin, absolutely. Don't forget to label your kiddos' jacket. You might not want to label your 6th graders' jackets because they might not like you for that, but for your kindergarten through 3rd grade, it's a really good idea. And that is the end of our questions. So you have been sticking with it. We're together. Oh, I see a student under the name of Candace Para. You have your hand up. Would you like, hi, I see you. Would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Hi.
Hi.
So, will there be anything else at the school?
Anything outside the school day? You mean like Move 60 or Right at School or stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure when Move 60 will start, but it will be before the school day. And that's 60 minutes of movement and games and activities with Mrs. Gonzalez. We will have that. We don't at elementary have after-school sports. Those are kind of rec league things. And maybe hopefully we can get to a spot where Mrs. Tabladio can do her after-school STEM program. We do have a lovely after-school program. Thank you for your question. Love it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stay on for a couple more minutes. If you have any more questions for me, I'll stay until the last one. Otherwise, our meeting time is done. You'll see the recording within about 24 hours. I promise to do my best. Yes, Ms. Bolivar, nice to see you. You have a question. Hi.
Hola. Sí, quisiera hacer una pregunta. ¿Cómo va a ser el proceso con los niños de educación especial? Hola.
Let me work on this. Hold on. I'm going to end interpretation so that I can hear Annie. And so we'll just do that consecutively. Annie, can you go ahead?
Yeah, the question is, what are services for students with special needs going to be like?
Really great question. So
Muy buena pregunta.
If your student qualifies for an IEP or has an IEP,
Si su alumno califica para un IEP o
there
tiene
will
un
be
IEP,
services available based on your student's IEP goals.
los servicios van a estar disponibles basados en las metas que tienen en el IEP de su hijo.
So if your student, if it's like my student and he has 30 minutes of social skills and 30 minutes of writing, they will receive those minutes.
Okay, por ejemplo, mi hijo que también tiene un IEP y por ejemplo, si él necesita 30 minutos de ayuda con sus destrezas sociales y 30 minutos con sus habilidades de escritura, va a recibir esos servicios.
We will also have classes or small groups for reading support for K through 4 with maybe a few extra groups.
Y también vamos a tener apoyo para la lectura para niños de kinder a 4º grado.
Ok, perfecto. Sí, gracias.
Okay, gracias. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Perfect.
Okay, the next question from Makeda. Hi, friends. You can go ahead and unmute.
Hi, Mrs. Moore. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. So my question is, how many signages for a dashboard can be given to a family?
When you say dashboard, do you mean the Skyward dashboard or do you mean like seesaw?
No, for the car. For the car, when we drop
that's a great question. Yes, if you need multiple signs, basically what we do is we walk out and we'll write the sign for you and put it in your, give it to you and you can put it in your window. If you have multiple parents or aunties picking up kiddos, like sometimes I do, you'll just come up and get another sign and you can have multiple signs for each of the cars and whatever you need. So it's really about making sure that you have what you need so that your kiddo can get picked up by the right person at the right time, right?
Mrs. Moore, I don't know if we're still separated by language or if you wanted us to interpret that question.
Can I separate you by language? Can I just restart you?
Sure.
Do they have to reselect the Spanish or Arabic? Yes, they do.
Or we could just translate really quickly.
Let's just translate really quickly.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Para los que hablan español, la pregunta fue acerca de las etiquetas que les vamos a pedir que tengan en su coche. La pregunta es si pueden recibir más de una etiqueta para que identifique a quién van a recoger. Y sí, les podemos dar todas las etiquetas o letreros que necesiten. Si tienen más de un coche, les podemos dar más de una etiqueta para sus coches. Raja, next.
نعم، في حالة الأهالي مختارين أنهم حيجيبوا أولادهم لحالهم في سياراتهم الخاصة، لو الأهالي عندهم أكثر من ابن حيعطوهم يعني أكثر من ورقة، حيعطوهم أكثر من ورقة، أو في حالة أنهم عندهم أكثر من سيارة عذرا حيعطوهم أكثر من ورقة بخصوص أسماء الأبناء اللي وبخصوص المكان اللي وين حيوقفوا فيه. Thank you.
Thank you. Anila, go ahead.
Hello.
There. Hi.
Yeah. Sorry. So I just want to share experience. 2 days ago, middle of the night, Zion just woke up and started crying and saying, I don't want to go to school. And he is the kid who attended school for the last 2 years in pre-K very, very happily. And even the first day and the second day on the jump start.
Yep.
So I just wonder, sometimes kids do show tantrum or upset, after 2 or 3 days. So as a, kindergarten student, what kind of teacher support is there for the students who get cranky or don't want to come,
Yeah, lots of support. Not the first or last cranky kindergartner to come to school.
I know, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot that comes into to getting our kids in the door. And one thing that I know, Anila, about kindergarten teachers and this team, as much as any in my 22 years, is that they love their kindergartners and they use all of their skills to manage students to help them stay happy, thriving, and in their learning stance. And they're kindergartners. They're still babies when they're 12, right? And they need help to support strategies to to regulate their emotions. And our teachers have all of those skills. So it's teacher to teacher support. And then there's, of course, dragon mamas like me that will come in and support and sit with a kiddo and help them think through. And dragon mamas like Miss Annie, who will come in and support as well, just to support the emotional wellness of our students. And above and beyond a kindergartner, Anila, I think it's important for all of our parents to know that our kids are going to be coming back to us with a variety of feelings. This has been a big deal.
Yeah.
And so all of our teachers are set to what our big theme for the year is about: belonging and making certain that students feel like they belong and that they connect with each other. And they're working on really already solid strategies for making those connections and building those relationships and having eye-to-eye conversations 3 feet apart with students. And the mask is a big deal too. It's hard, to have to smile with your eyes, right? But what I know is that our teachers, there's a lot of support available, and our teachers are working all the way across our system here at Spruce to create those connections and those relationships and to help support students when things are a little bit hard. We've got it. We've had a lot of experience with it. So just to ease your mind and your heart, we've got him. He's going to be fine.
Thank you so much for this
Absolutely.
explanation. Thank you so
Mrs.
much.
Moore, I will try to be very brief.
Yes,
in
I'm sorry.
Summarizing what was said. So
Okay.
please bear with me. A los padres que hablan español, la pregunta fue o la preocupación fue acerca de su niño que va a empezar kinder, que hace varios días amaneció llorando diciendo que no quería ir a la escuela. Entonces, ¿qué tipo de apoyo hay en la escuela para los niños que tal vez sientan un poco de ansiedad o temor o preocupación o que estén llorando, que dicen que no quieren venir a la escuela? Y una de las cosas que le contestó la directora es que una de las cosas que sé de los maestros de kinder es que adoran a sus hijos, y aquí tenemos a personal que los va a apoyar. Tenemos a Mrs. Moore que puede entrar a un salón, estoy yo. Sabemos que los niños van a entrar con muchos sentimientos porque han estado fuera de los salones tanto tiempo, y esta es su primera experiencia para los niños de kinder. Y aquí tenemos a los niños, aquí los vamos a recibir con brazos abiertos, con protocolos de distancia obviamente, pero aquí con los brazos abiertos y con mucho amor y cariño y paciencia para que ellos tengan una transición con mucho éxito a la escuela. Gracias.
Thank you, Annie. Miss Raja, thank you.
يعني في حالة التلميذ اللي عندهم فزع أو خوف من الذهاب للمدرسة، هل الأم سألت هل في المدرسة عندهم أشياء لهيك حالات؟ طبعا عندنا طبعا نحن بنعامل كل التلاميذ وكأنهم يعني أبنائنا. كل المدرسات وكل المدرسين كل الموظفين في المدرسة حيحاولوا جاهدين لخلق جو عائلي وجو آمن لكل التلاميذ. فطبعا هو صعب إنه مثلا خاصة جماعة هذول الأطفال الصغار حيكونوا متخصصين جدا في خلق الأجواء اللطيفة والأجواء اللي تحسس الطفل بأنه مثلا في بيته أو هيك. مع الابتسامة طبعا صعب أن بيشوفوا الأطفال ابتسامة وخاصة وأنهم يعني لابسين الكمامات، بس حنحاول كل جهدنا لخلق جو وتهيئة جو صحي، جو لطيف، جو ملائم للتعلم ولمحاولة. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm so verbose sometimes. So we have time for, I think there's a student question. Sarah, would you like to unmute and ask your question, my friend? Nice to see you. Can we try to unmute her? Ask to unmute Sarah. I'm going to ask to unmute you. You're going to see a button, okay? See if you can click that button. There you go. Now speak. What's your question, my friend?
Can we bring a Chromebook to school, to class every day?
Yes, please. Every day to school, every day to home, okay?
يجب علينا إحضار الكمبيوتر الخاص. نعم، يجب عليكم إحضار الكمبيوتر الخاص كل يوم.
La pregunta si necesitamos traer nuestras computadoras a la escuela y de regreso a la casa. Sí, todos los días, por favor.
And the last two very quick questions from the chat directly to me. And thank you so much for coming tonight. So do we need to wear a uniform? No uniforms, not in public school here in Washington State, certainly not in the Edmond School District.
No hay uniformes en las escuelas del estado de Washington, de las escuelas públicas, así que no es necesario usar uniforme.
هل يجب على التلاميذ ارتداء الزي المدرسي؟ لا، بالنسبة لمدرستنا أو بالنسبة لهذا المدرسة لا نرتدي الزي معين. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last one, and then we're going to close for tonight, is can we come by tomorrow to drop off supplies for our kindergarten grade? Yes, you can come by tomorrow. Just remember to come in through the main entrance doors into the office and you can drop them off. It would be, we'll have some boxes set up for you so that we have that ready. Miss Annie.
Pregunta si podemos traer útiles a la escuela mañana para dejarlos y claro que sí, los pueden dejar en la oficina. Vamos a tener cajas listas para poder dejar los útiles si desean llevarlos mañana a la escuela.
هل بالإمكان القدوم غدا لإحضار بعض النماذج أو شيء من هذا القبيل؟ نعم، المكتب مفتوح طول اليوم غدا. Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys so much for coming. It was lovely to see you. Lovely to spend time with you. Have a wonderful evening. Miss Annie.
Muchas gracias por haber venido en la noche. Fue lindo verlos a todos ustedes y nos vemos muy pronto.
شكرا لحضوركم ونراكم الأسبوع القادم إن شاء الله.
All right, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Take care. Thank you to my team. Thank you, Miss Annie. Thank you, Miss Raja. Thank you so much.
شكرا. Thank you.